All right, Nicole, it's the last week of our predictions before they get reset post-summer shutdown.
Wow, I can't even believe we're already here. That
You're
I
right.
feel like the season just started and we're somehow at silly season, which I think we need to learn. And I think as an F1 community, we need to collectively rename a different name for silly season because F1 season's just silly season. There needs to be some kind of other name.
Well, it's actually the summer shutdown. That's why I call it that. That's what it's called in the regulations. But, um, so at this point, I'm ahead by 22 points. So it's looking likely that for our predictions for the Dutch Grand Prix, Nicole will be doing that from a exercise bike because
Nice.
that was the stakes. But there are 23 points on the line this week, which means if Nicole gets all of them correct and I get all of them wrong, she will eke out a win. And we're going to lean into that this week. And we're all going to be collectively rooting for Nicole to get everything right and me to get everything wrong because that sounds fun.
Yeah, you know what keeps it interesting? It's for the sake of the sport. And who wants to say that our competition's over when there's an entire race left? Not me.
There's still points on the line. So, starting with our sprint predictions, because it's a sprint race. Nicole, top team that scores the most points for you during the sprint race.
I am going for points here. I pick
As you
Red Bull.
should. Okay, I picked Ferrari. P3
You're
in
gonna
the
have
sprint.
such fun picks. It's so
I am gonna have
annoying.
fun. I'm gonna have really fun, really weird picks. So P3, who is your last on the podium during the sprint?
I have Lando Norris.
I think that's a solid choice. I chose Alexander Albon to make it on the podium. Who's your P8?
My P8 is Charles Leclerc.
Really solid pick. I chose Max Verstappen. All right, moving on to Grand Prix Sunday race predictions. Nicole, who do you have winning this Grand Prix?
Plot twist, I have Max Verstappen.
I have Lewis Hamilton.
This is literally like, it's so fun and enjoyable that I have an opportunity to win, but I almost think it's more fun that you just get to be like, I'm gonna just pick all these chaotic race predictions because I can.
What, Nicole, you don't think Lewis Hamilton can win this race? We didn't just do a whole segment about how draggy the Mercedes is. Who's P4?
Before I have Oscar Piastri.
Oh, I'd be really happy if he was P4.
Yeah.
I chose Alex Albon.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really going all in on I want to root for Williams this week.
I know, seriously, oh my god, and I thought I
By the
was
way,
like bold
if
in
I was
some...
if I was doing this for real, I probably would have still put Alex P7. I don't think I would have put him P4, but
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll discuss post pod this because
Nicole, who's your P7?
my P7 is George Russell.
My P7 is Max Verstappen.
Wow. I can't even take it seriously.
Oh, my P10. Guess what my P10 is? My P10 is that someone's going to be sick this week, and Sebastian Vettel is going to be back in an F1 car for some team, and he's going to be P10.
Are you literally? I may lose in picks this week, and if I do, you have picked Sebastian Vettel, who is not even a driver currently.
You told me to have fun. I'm having fun.
You know what? I also hope that Seb is in the points this week.
Yeah, that would make me really happy. I'm rooting for things that would make me happy if they happened. So.
Did I say my P10?
No, you didn't.
I'm like,
Who's your P10?
wow. Okay, somehow will be less amazing. Alex Albon's my P10.
By the way, I've been laughing through this whole thing and just pushing through, but you've actually made really good predictions through this
Thank
whole
you.
thing.
I tried to provide some variety of other picks. Okay, so now I'm also really intrigued of who do you have as your highest point scoring team from the back of the pack?
So this one was hard to be silly about because there's 5 teams to choose from, so I just kind of like pulled out of a hat, and I went with Alfa Romeo. Because I hope Joe has a good race, and VB is fun to root for, and like, just of the teams, that's kind of where I landed. What about you?
That's great, and I'm just keeping it spicy and just trying to avoid potentially some type of curse, and I picked Williams.
Yeah, that's what I would have picked.
Great.
All right. Last but not least, we have 2 Daniel Ricciardo's back on the grid predictions to add to this that could win a total of 6 points. So I did have to go serious for the first one because there's quali and I could only pick Danny Rick or Yuki, and I just went with Yuki. I flipped a coin.
That's fair. I still went with Danny Rick this week.
I figured going opposite to you was important for the giving. If we went with the same thing, then there would be no chance of you winning this week. So my whole goal was to go opposite.
Yes.
Make sure none of our picks were the same. By going, predicting Lewis Hamilton to win the race and Alex Albon on a podium. All right. Where do you have Daniel Ricciardo finishing the race this week?
I am maintaining this energy, and I would love to, I'm going to say, be proven wrong here, but I'm going to stick with a P13 finish. 13 is a good number in my life, and I will maintain that. I'll stick that, and given Spa. That feels like it would be another positive place to finish. So, go ahead. Where do you have him finishing?
P9. In the points. Danny Rick in the points.
Jeez. Okay. All right. So that's Spa. If this is your first time listening to Grid Walk, this is very different from Briana's traditional points and predictions.
I mean, there's a reason why I'm up 22 points. Like, I'm normally pretty good at this. I'm also just now realizing the whiplash of people listening to the whole beginning of the podcast, and I'm like running through data and all this serious analysis, and then I just said Sebastian Vettel is going to pick P10.
No, again, we are resetting our competition after this.
Yes, we're going to be back to 0. By the way, since we are resetting post-summer shutdown, and Nicole's going to likely pay the tax, the
consequence, I lost.
Yeah.
I got to do something because I lose, maybe. Unless I have the greatest comeback of all time. But if we get some kind of announcement about Seb racing this weekend, I officially will no longer participate in any sort of race predictions game with you ever again.
That's fair. But get in touch either through social media or leave a comment on our YouTube video. What should be the stakes for the second half of the season when we reset? I'm mostly asking because I have 0 ideas. So please help out. What would be funny for you to put on the line as the stakes for our prediction? One more thing to do some predictions for. It is round 6. It's the second to last round of the F1 Academy. And so a quick recap of where we are. I have 190 points. Nicole has 179. She had a really big week in round 5 where she got 73 to my 45. So really cut that gap that I pulled out after round 4. The way we do this one's a little different than our normal predictions. We draft drivers and we get the points that they score during the weekend. I know that the detriment I had is that Hamda had a rough weekend last time out, and I picked her and you got Marta, and they're the 2 drivers competing for the championship right now at the top of the standings. So it was a rough week for me last week, but Nicole, you said you wanted to go first, so you go first.
Yes, it was definitely not an ideal weekend for Amda last weekend, and I had honestly debated going back and forth of who I was going to pick for first pick this time, but I opted to go first as I will remain true. She's been my homie this whole season with F1 Academy picks. I'm going to remain with Marta as my first pick going into this race weekend.
I mean, it makes sense. She has won the most races of any F1 Academy driver. It's been really disappointing that we haven't been able to watch any of these races because it's definitely much more exciting than what's happening in F1 right now. But
there's been a lot of back and forth, and it's been incredibly close, and just to see where drivers have been able to jump around in the points.
Yeah. Also, this is the last round that is not going to be on the F1 circuit, at least for the next year plus, because round 7, the final round in F1 Academy, is at the USGP for F1. And then next year, they've already announced that F1 Academy, all their rounds is going to be with F1. And I have heard a little bit of an unconfirmed rumor that we're going to get to watch the F1 Academy for the first time in round 7 because they'll be there with the F1 infrastructure. So fingers crossed that they announce that and that rumor turns out to be true. But I'm stalling. I am going to pick Hamda again. She had an off weekend, but she's had an incredible season. So I will back her again for sure. And I'm going to swipe Nicole's probably favorite driver. And I'm going to swipe Lena Bueller.
I can't believe this. I should have. I can't. I have no words. I don't have words.
Yeah. Every week, Nicole's picked Lena. She's had a fantastic week. And I would like to have a fantastic week. And she's P3 in the standing. She's had been really consistent all season. And I also just wanted to see that reaction.
I should have known. I was so... Oh, wow. Okay.
You wanted Marta.
I know, I did.
That was the cost.
I know, that is the cost. And once again, I'm sorry, Lena. Whenever weekend, you're so right. Whenever I end up not with Lena, it's not a powerful week for me. But that is okay. I don't wish her less success because she's not hanging out with me. All right. Well, then I will go with... I'm going to pick Abby for my next pick, which now this kind of makes us a little bit like lame for these next couple of points, but now we're getting just really our competitive selves. Yeah. But then, of course, after that is when we get to keep things a little bit more interesting. And I'm actually going to pick for my next set of picks that's outside of 1 through 6. That's right. We do 6 as our cut. 1 through 7 is our cutoff. Either way, that's okay. I'm going to pick Carrie as my outside the quote-unquote top picks.
Yeah, Carrie had a really good round 4 and some decent point scores in round 5. So that makes a lot of sense. Who am I going to pick? I'm going to pick Amelie.
All right.
She also didn't have the most fantastic round 5, but she's had some really high points this season. And picking in the back half of the standings, I'm going to bank on some more high points.
I think that is a pretty solid pick. I mean, honestly, every time I do F1 Academy picks, I never feel like I'm picking anything wrong. But then we'll have a little bit of a gap here until Austin, which sounds like worlds away compared to where we are in the F1 world. So next year will be a little bit different, but excited for some F1 Academy racing in France. Thank you so much for listening to this highlight of episode 27 of Gridwalk. Don't forget to like and subscribe for a ton of more F1 videos and F1 content. Also, you made it this far in this video. Why not watch the rest of the podcast? It's as much fun, I promise. Click here for the full thing. Click, ready? Click.